Hello, everyone, and welcome to Those Working Fangirls, where we talk all things nerdy book, TV, movie, pop culture, fandoms, and how they integrate into our adult lives. I'm Natasha.
And I'm Christine.
And welcome to season 2 of Those Working Fangirls. Woo! Today we have a very special start to our second season. We're going to be very reflective in this episode, and we're excited. Christine, what are we doing?
Yeah, we're going to be looking back on 2014 as compared to today and kind of digging into like how much really changes in 10 years personally and where we were as far as mental health, life goals, dreams, aspirations, outlooks, and compare that to where we are today. We're also going to like look at some of the pop culture and see how different it is and how similar, all that stuff. It's going to be a fun time.
And we're catching up on all the movies, TV, books, and pop culture stuff that we missed over the holiday break that we haven't been able to talk about yet. We've seen so much. We're so excited to talk about it.
Yes, so many movies, so many books, TV shows. Like I was compiling a list on my phone of stuff that I need to talk about on the podcast when we finally get back to it. So I'm really excited to get into that. But first, as always, we are going to roll into some snap, crackle, pop culture news. I don't know if y'all missed it, but at Christmas, okay, on my TV, the game was just on. I wasn't paying attention. I never watch TV. And I fucking look up, and there's Taylor Swift because the Chiefs game was on in my house, and she was at the Chiefs game, and I freaked out. I was like, why did anyone tell me to look up at the TV? Because Taylor Swift was on. I've never seen a live game Taylor Swift. I only get the clips off of Twitter. Like, are you kidding? And everyone's just laughing and being like, she's always there. La, 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 la. And I immediately went to Twitter, and I was like, oh my God, she's there with her mom and her dad, and her brother is dressed as Santa Claus. And I just was so excited and giddy that I got to watch some clips of Taylor live on the television.
This was on like TV, like on your TV, like on Christmas Day?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
In the kitchen.
I was not paying attention to Taylor Swift during the holiday break. Like, I saw her go, I was like, oh, that's fun.
You didn't have me to nudge. No. To send Twitter links to memes about Taylor Swift. So that was really fun. And they also, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift spent New Year's together. I don't know if you saw the little video of them kissing at the private New Year's party they were at.
Oh, yeah. I did see that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think even they talked about it on New Heights too. Like Jason's wife.
They did. I missed that.
Yeah, they talked about how Taylor's brother dressed up as Santa Claus and made Travis feel like a kid again or something like that.
Cool. What else? The Golden Globes aired yesterday as of when we're recording this.
You watched the whole thing, right?
Tell us. I watched the entire Golden Globes, and you know why? Miss Taylor Swift was there, so I was like, I'm there.
I wanted to see the red carpet. I watched the whole thing. It kept glitching on our TV, which was really frustrating. So I missed like Emma Stone's speech, but like unfortunately there was a lot of uncomfy, like very awkward moments, especially with the host, Joe
host
Coy.
Was not good. He did a very poor job at everything, in my opinion.
I was dragged to his show because I'm like, whatever, I'll go. It was for like our friend Dakota's birthday, and he wanted to go see his stand-up here in Anaheim. And
you've seen him live?
I've seen him live, and he was very funny, but like it took a while to get to those funny moments because he had to set up the jokes because he has like an hour stand-up. There was just so many, like when he talked about how Oppenheimer was so long, it didn't feel like he was poking fun. It just kind of felt very disrespectful to the industry, honestly. And like the
all
joke
of it
about
felt very awkward coming out of his mouth. It was like
very awkward.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a joke. It felt like he was saying, because he knew he could read the room. He was like, I didn't write these. I just got hired a couple of weeks ago. not going to be a perfect monologue.
You got hired like 10 days ago, but still, you know, it could have been a little bit better than talking about Barbie's plastic boobs.
That was terrible. I was like, have you seen Barbie? Like, do you understand the film? Like, like this is so out of pocket and uncomfortable and aged.
Yeah, so he wasn't great. We all, whatever. We also watched...
Greta didn't even look mad. She just looked disappointed, and that's so real. She did. She was just like, Taylor did too. He made a crack about how the difference between this show and the NFL game was that there's less shots of Taylor Swift, and Taylor just like picked up her drink.
She looks so mad, and then Kaylee, she came with Miles Teller's wife, Kaylee Teller or something, and Kaylee said, like, I think she said cheers bitch or something, and she also took a drink. I don't know. It was
and there were all these like clips of them from like other cameras of Selena coming over and giving them quote tea. And did you see like somebody, you know, transcribed what their lips were saying? But I don't know if this is like real. But supposedly TikTok thinks that Selena came over and said that she asked for a picture with Timothée Chalamet, and he said no.
I saw that.
Both of them like gasped. No way. No. But that is so awkward if that's real.
There was another terribly awkward moment with Kevin Costner and America Ferrera.
Oh my God. I know.
And I missed it because the TV glitch, but then I kind of got the gist of what happened.
It felt like she was reading. It felt like she had planned to do a bit where Kevin Costner knew her monologue from the movie, and he was just talking out of his ass about Barbie, like he hadn't seen it maybe, or like he wasn't on board with it. Like it was giving me the vibes that he didn't like Barbie, and I was like, this is really uncomfortable.
I mean, Kevin Costner's not really a well-liked person, so
I don't know him at all. I was just annoyed. I was like, just go along with the bit or say something nice. He was giving off really bad vibes.
Yeah, and like America was just smiling and trying to get through it. The only bit I did like was Will Ferrell and
oh my God, and Kristen Wiig.
Yeah, she looks incredible, by the way. I watched her on SNL.
Does.
Oh my gosh, she looks hot. I don't know, her haircut, the color.
Love their bit. Yes, she looks amazing, and I was about to turn the Golden Globes off, and then they were like, Kristen Wiig and Will Ferrell are coming out. I'm like, oh wait, I gotta wait and see what they do. They were so good. They did this little, like, they were trying to be serious quote, and then this song kept playing while they were trying to do their little bit, and they were like, what's going on? And then the song came back on for longer, and they just like started weird dancing together. It was great. And the whole room was laughing. It was really good. The other one I liked was Haley Steinfeld. And wow, I don't know what other two people came out with her anymore, because she was in the middle and I was focused on her. But they did this bit about how the writers are really needed, and they had not writers write their bit. They just were like talking like robots and using the same words over and over again. It was great.
What was like your favorite dress you saw that night?
I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. I guess I liked Taylor's.
Of course. I did like Taylor's. I think she was more glamorous than she usually is. And it was a big standout. I really liked Margot's, of course. It was from a 1970s
Oh, yeah, it
Barbie.
was pretty. It was like Superstar Barbie's outfit or something I saw on Twitter.
Anything else you want to talk about Golden Globes? Move on.
No, I was surprised that Oppenheimer won so much stuff.
Me too.
I mean, I'm glad Christopher Nolan won, because I didn't realize that he's been nominated a lot of times and never won before. Like, he should have won for like Inception. Or any of the Batmans, which, of course, because Batman's in it, wasn't taken as seriously. But those films are spectacular. And the only time he's come up there is to accept for Heath Ledger. And that was a very, delicate, hard thing to do. because he had passed. And so I'm glad he got to come up and accept for himself. His speech was like surprisingly moving because I was really wanting Greta to win. And then Christopher won. And then I was like, well, I love him and I'm glad he won. And I didn't realize that he's never won. But Oppenheimer was not my favorite. And I feel like I'm happy Robert Downey Jr. won for Oppenheimer, but I'm like, really? I don't know. Of all things, like he should have won for Iron Man, but was never even considered. Like
I can't believe that Ryan Gosling wasn't even nominated for like the musical comedy section.
He was nominated. He was? Oh. He didn't win. Yeah, he didn't win. Yeah. There were a lot of funny memes about him being the loser, Ken the loser on Twitter, being Knuff. Barbie won for the best song. Billie Eilish and Phineas won, which was really nice. And they won the new award, which is in box office cinematic achievement, which is why Taylor Swift was there. The Eras Tour was nominated. I wanted her to win, but I knew when I saw like the other people nominated, I was like, this is dumb. She should be in a different category because these are all like really great films and her movie's not a film like that. It's completely different. And this is like a film atmosphere. So it's not going to be considered against like Barbie and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and like the Tom Cruise movie was in there. I was like, that's a cinematic achievement.
I didn't understand, like, I guess the barriers for the award, like how it was like how they won, and from what like Greta and Marco said was like maybe the community that came out around the film because it was the box office achievement and that was how it won. I don't know.
I think also it brought a lot of people back to the theater. And for a long time, they've been struggling to get people in theaters. And Barbie was bringing people to the theater for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, alongside Oppenheimer and then Taylor Swift. So that's why I was like, oh, Taylor has a chance because she did bring a shitload of people to the theater. But Barbie started it. And Barbenheimer was a phenomenon last year. Should we move on?
Mm-hmm.
To our other things. Okay, I'm going to go a little quicker here with some of these. I'm just going to take this one out. Maybe we'll talk about this another time. All right. My book comes out in 4 months, y'all. I can't even believe it. 4 months and like 11 days or something. Less than that when this comes out. It's called Attached at the Hip. If you haven't pre-ordered it yet, please consider doing so. If you want to support my relationship with authoring, that makes sense. The link is in the show notes, but I'm so excited and like so shook. I was shooketh when the year turned over. I was like, I cannot believe I have a book coming out in 4.5 months. It's a Survivor-esque rom-com where contestants are literally attached at the hip with like a missed connection. And then they rotate through other people every 3 days and people are eliminated every 3 days and there are challenges and it's so much fun. I am so excited to share it with all of y'all and it's coming out in 4 months. Okay, also, I was going to wait to talk about this in the TV section, but I got to talk about it right here. So Survivor season 45 just ended in December, like right at the start of the holiday break. Okay. And I'm watching this like dying because all of a sudden in the last hour, a showmance has emerged on Survivor. Okay. And this is also at the beginning of this season, because I have the book coming out and I've been like in such Survivor head, I was like, you know what, this season I'm gonna pick a winner's pick. Everyone does this every season who's a big Survivor fan. They pick a winner's pick just from the very first episode and they're like, okay, I'm gonna say this person's gonna win, like that's my bet. And I never do it because I'm like, my people always get eliminated. Like I always mentally be like, I want these people to win, but never say it out loud. This year, that season, I saw a person and I was like, I told John, because we were watching Survivor together, I was like, that's my winner's pick. They went all the way to the end and they fucking won the fucking game. And they were also the person who ended up in the showmance. Okay? It was batshit. And I don't want to, there are people in this season that look like people in my season of Attached to the Hip. And it was like messing with my head. Like I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. Okay. So I was blown away and so excited. Like I was watching with my mom and just like losing it. I had to film when they were reading the final votes. I couldn't even. I made TikToks about it and I put them on my like alternate Instagram too. My alternate Instagram is at Christine Riccio Books. If you're interested, if you watched Survivor or want to see those clips. But it was amazing. I had the best time. Anyway, so yeah, my book Attached to the Hip comes out May 21st, 2024. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited for the launch. I'm just going to say things out loud now instead of being afraid to.
No, I'm just like so happy that your book's coming out, and also like how crazy and kismet is that the Survivor season is. And like we had so much, like we got to go see them too in real life, which was really fun. So
yes. It was crazy. I can't go into too much detail about how crazy it felt because I don't want to say like too much about my book, but like it was crazy. Anyway, all right. And what else do we have here? Okay, I just want to shout out really quick Taylor Tomlinson, one of my favorite comedians who is like slaying. I don't know if anyone has seen her special Quarter Life Crisis that came out around 2020, and then she had another special like in 2021 or 2022 that I loved, and now she is getting the late night show After Midnight or whatever. She's gonna be a late night host. I am so fucking proud of her, and she's gonna be the only female late night host on the air because Superwoman isn't doing it anymore. I think she only did one season, which is really what a bummer. But I hope that this time when they've got a woman in late night that it goes well and keeps going. It's a really stressful job because you have to put new content out every day of the week. But I am just like, this is so cool. When I saw an ad for it on my TikTok, I was like, no fucking way. She was like 25 in like 2020, 2019. So she's really young. This is amazing. Like, what a big accomplishment. All right. We want to let you guys know that new bonus episodes are finally out for our $10 tier and up on the Patreon. We've got our commentary for The Holiday, the film with Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet. So fun. And we've got our October extra episode, which was like tracking the Taylor Harry Styles story through putting the songs of their story in chronological order. So that's also up from the Team Edward and Onward. And huge news, you can now do a free trial of our Team Jacob tier. So you can try it out for 7 days. Go listen to like the last half hour or sometimes we go longer than a half an hour of like our XL episodes and check out all our fangirl tea times. There are 56 fangirl tea times waiting. So much content, and we love fangirl tea time. Like, I don't know. I mean, I do know Natasha and I have so much fun in fangirl tea time. Yes. We tell so many stories. It's such an intimate community. So if you want to check that out and give it a go, you can do a free trial for 7 days before it ends up charging you for the Patreon and see if you like it. We think you will. We love it. I'm so excited for our fangirl tea time today. We're going to be doing like a big catch up of stories from the holiday break. So that's going to be fun. And one last really quick announcement. I just want to tell everyone that I'm going to be moderating an author's event this month, January 20th at 7 p.m. at the Ripped Bodice, which is like the romance bookstore here in the SoCal area. It's in Culver City. And I'm going to be in conversation with Arushi Avachat. I'm not sure if that's how I pronounce her name. So if it's wrong, I'm so sorry. I haven't talked to her in person yet, or met her in person yet, or I heard her name aloud yet. But she is a debut author, and her book is called Arya Khanna's Bollywood Moment. And I just started it last night, and it's so fun and so cute so far. I'm really excited to keep rolling on through it. The pitch is Save the Date meets Never Have I Ever in this sparkling debut rom-com about a high school senior whose life suddenly gets a Bollywood spin when her sister gets engaged. So It sounds so fun. And I fucking love Never Have I Ever. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm sold.
I will be there too in support.
Yay. Thank you. I'm really happy that you're coming too. Okay.
Also, real quick, guys, I don't know if you all remember this, but House of Flame and Shadow, the Crescent City #3 is coming out January 30th.
It's coming. Oh my God.
Like less than a month. This month.
It's so soon. That is the day I'm flying to go to Olivia's bachelorette, so I'm going to be taking it on the plane with me. All right. Should we roll into what right now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Natasha, tell us about the books that you read over break.
Okay. I finished Iron Flame. This was like right before Christmas. So yay, done with that. Took me like a month, I think, to read it. It was hefty. I'm not going to go into my thoughts because it'll be spoilery.
Yes, don't tell me.
Yeah. So after that, I knew like I really wanted to read. I wanted to read like a fan fiction, and because I read Manacled last year, and I hadn't picked up anything since then. So I looked at like TikTok, and there were so many people talking about Draco and Hermione fan fiction. So I picked up, by the way, guys, I've been reading Hermione fan fiction for 15 years. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just see whatever all the girlies are reading now, because it's like so mainstream and it's just crazy. So I've been reading Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love, and it is a 1,300 page book. And I'm almost done with it. I shared it on my Instagram stories, and like 500 people clicked it. And I know like several people were reading it along with me. I just haven't really updated anyone online. But I've been having so much fun with it. It is like the slowest of slow burns. A lot of false starts. A lot of like, can you just like be together? And like, they are, but it's just a really fun way to like, it just gets me to read on the page too. Like, we were talking about it on our like fangirl hangout session, which we do we do with our Pulse Bananas tier every month. And we were talking about how like fan fiction reading is very different than like book reading, like normal published books, because we already know the world, we already know these characters, and it's really just like plot driven, and it's just such a fun way to like drive through.
Character driven?
Yeah, character driven, and it's just, yeah. So I've been having fun with that. I'm almost done. I feel like I'm going to finish it today. So that's what I've been reading. What about you?
Nice. Well, I read Bright Young Women over the break, which was such a fucking ride. I talked about this I've been making videos every day, so I've talked about this, so I'm sorry if it feels repetitive, but Bright Young Women is a fictional retelling of like based on an actual event. So it's based on the Ted Bundy murders back in like the late 70s, and the woman, but it's told from like the women's point of view, and it makes a really interesting point, and thematically I found it so moving because they talk about a lot how we glorify the murderer and we never know the names or the stories of the people that were actually affected for the rest of their lives by what he did. So we follow this woman named Pam, and in 1978 she is the president of her sorority, and her sorority gets hit by this serial killer, and she lives to tell the tale. Like, so she gets up in the middle of the night and all the lights are on, and she goes to check on things, and she finds two of her sisters fucking murdered, and two like really fucked up, and she has to deal with all of it, and she has to be the one to call their parents, and she has to be the one to testify, and she sees him leaving the house and doesn't know what's happened before she sees him leaving the house, and she's the only eyewitness, and it is her story and the story of another one of his victims who she ends up, like having to kind of help investigate the murder of, but that victim like is past, but we see their story from like their firsthand point of view as well. It's really intense, but it's really good. And I was on the fucking edge of my seat. Like it was like very scary, but very good. And I feel like I can only handle stories like that at the end of the year and at the beginning of the year. That's when I read like all my dark stories. But it was really, really, I found it really well done, and I'm really glad I read it. So that is by Jessica Knoll, whose first novel is The Luckiest Girl Alive, which was turned into a movie on Netflix with Mila Kunis. I never watched that movie, but now I'm like, oh my God, I want to watch that. Or should I read the book first? I'm not sure. But it's another like true crime-ish fiction. And I really want to watch it now because I love Mila Kunis, and I'm just like on the fence about reading the book first or just watching the movie.
I want to watch the movie. I haven't seen that either yet.
So I did the audiobook for Bright Young Women. It's very good. If anyone wants to do the audiobook, because they're not finding themselves sitting around and reading right now because of any reasons. I'm having such a hard time sitting and reading at this time. I can't like relax enough to sit and read. But audiobooks.
Shall we move into TV shows?
Yes. Let's do it. What did you watch?
Okay. So I really have been putting a lot of my time into like a few things. I haven't been watching much TV, but I did kind of blast through like the first and half of the second season of Ginny and Georgia. I never like really wanted to pick it up on Netflix because I think I started watching it. I'm like, oh, I thought it was going to be like a fun, like silly dilly dally show. And it's actually, I explained it to Christine. It's like Desperate Housewives meets, what did I say? Desperate Housewives meets.
Did you say the Gilmore Girls or no?
Yeah, Gilmore
I can't
Girls.
remember. I just remember the Desperate Housewives part. Okay.
Yeah, because it's like, yeah, Gilmore Girls with crime, but like it's like it's shot in the way that Desperate Housewives is shot. It's like in a little town. There's like all these like crime things and killing people and a lot of like mental health stuff that we're dealing with. And anyways, so I really enjoyed it. I have enjoyed it. It was a bit triggering for me, honestly. Like, I think I was watching it like Christmas Eve night, and the whole ordeal of like Ginny wanting to be, Georgia wanting to be Ginny's like best friend because Georgia's the mom and Ginny's the daughter was like kind of bringing me back to like stuff with my mom, and I'm like, so it gets pretty dark, but like in a fun way.
Okay.
So
I mean, I like dark in a fun way. So
yeah,
that's
cool.
Cool.
So I suggest it. Yeah, it's fun. I like it.
I was watching Percy Jackson over the break, which is so fun. It is by far the most well done adaptation of Percy Jackson thus far. Every episode is getting better. This last episode was so good. Episode 4. The only thing that I'm kind of like about is the CGI. Sometimes like the CGI for the Furies is really awkward and they're trying to edit around it, but the editing is really awkward. And so those are like little tiny snippets of each episode. Like you see like the CGI, and I realized in episode 4, so I've been doing videos on Instagram about like every episode with Paul because I got to watch with my brother because I was home for the holidays, and that was really fun. But like in this past episode, there was a chimera in it and it looked amazing. And so I was like, oh, they've put all their money into this monster. And so that's why all the other CGI looked like shit. Yeah, Shot says, I feel like it blacks out for a few seconds too long between scenes. That, I feel like that's almost what the editing makes it feel like when there's like those bad CGI moments. It's like, oh, wait, what's going on? We can't see anything. The Furies look horrible. Yeah, Chloe's saying she hates the way the Furies look. And they were way scarier in the movie. I don't even remember them in the movie. But I'm really happy about the chemistry between the trio. Like, they are so fun together. And the banter between Percy and Annabeth is great. And the banter with Grover. Grover in the books was like such a nothing character to me. He just annoyed me. I never found him charming. But in the show, he is so fun and so cute and charming with the three of them. I love the way that he's always trying to like make peace between Annabeth and Percy. I love everything about the three of them. Like, that's really what is the flagship of the show, like the chemistry between the actors and the leads, and it's great. So I think there's so much promise for the going forward. I'm so excited. Like, they're on the quest now and everything is just so much fun. Every episode, I just am like sitting there like giggling and smiling and being so excited for them. Yeah, in this past episode, when they went on the quest, Percy got $200 to travel across the country for this quest. Like, the budget for them was ridiculous. That was very funny.
I haven't watched it yet.
So fun.
I kind of want to wait until I can binge it. That's what I'm.
It is made to be binged. This is also a thing that's annoying me because it's like it ended in the middle of like a scene, and I was like, "Are you kidding?"
Yeah, I feel like I want to read the first book and then I want to watch the show. Like, I feel like that's what I want to do.
Do the audiobook or something.
Yeah. Before we go into movies, I have to talk about Baldur's Gate because it's not a movie or TV or book or anything. It's a video game.
You're becoming a gamer.
I'm a gamer. I'm a girly gamer now. Okay. So Alex, my brother, he's a gamer. Alex he's been gaming since birth. Okay. So I never really liked gaming, but he told me, cause I've kind of been into it over the last like year or so. And he's like, let's play Baldur's Gate. And okay, if you guys don't know what this is, it can be played on the desktop. It can be played on PlayStation. I don't know about Xbox, but we're playing it on PlayStation. It is a D&D game. So it's actually from the creators of D&D. It's Baldur's Gate 3, by the way. And I describe it as like a Sims with plot and magic, and dragons. And because you get to make your person and like have all these different options, and choose so many different types of features for them. It's so fun to make your person. Alex really helped me. He's a DM, so he knows like everything there is to know about Dungeons and Dragons. And it's so fun. So both of Alex and I are playing it together. So we each have like a split screen and we play it together, and he really has helped me. I have, if anyone knows what Baldur's Gate is or, you know, D&D, I made like a half elf warlock, and she's so fun, so cute. I love her. And it's just been,
what's her name?
That's her name's Indarna.
Wait, why do I know that name? Oh, it's from
Fourth Wing.
It's from Fourth Wing.
Yeah. So I named her Indarna. But that's all we did over Christmas, like all that entire week between Christmas and New Year's. And now, like, when he gets home from work, all we do is play the game. And it is so fun for us, and I love doing it with him. And I'm a little bit afraid of getting, because there's like sex in this, I'm a little bit afraid of getting into those portions of the game. We're only in, there's 3 parts. We've been playing this for like 2 weeks, and I feel like we've only scratched the surface. Like, there's so much to explore, and it's just a super fun game, and I'm obsessed. And I know there's like,
I'm glad that you're having fun.
And you can romance characters, and I'm a little bit sad because I tried, if anyone knows, I tried to romance Asterion, and it's not happening. So
oh, well, I'm glad you're having fun with the game and you get to play with Alex. That's really nice. Mm-hmm. And should we roll into movies?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So many movies. I think we should start with Anyone But You, because that feels so relevant to our brand here on the pod. This is the new Will Gluck rom-com with Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell. I was very excited to see it. I think a lot of us were very excited to see it. Natasha, do you want to share your thoughts before I ramble on my thoughts?
Yeah. I went and saw this with two of my girlfriends, like New Year's weekend at like 7 p.m. showing. So we had a very fun viewing because there was just all girls in the theater and everyone was like doing tippy taps and screaming and squealing. And I loved this movie. I love the comedy. I laughed so hard. I thought they did have great chemistry, and I like that first scene of them meeting. I was just like, like I could not sometimes help the sounds coming out of my mouth. It was a little spicier than I had thought it was going to be, so that was kind of nice. I kind of wish there was a little bit more substance. That's the only thing. I thought it was really great. Didn't know what the fuck his job was. Didn't know what her job was. I know that's like kind of the point, and like didn't really know them. It was just really about like getting these two to a wedding so that they could bicker at each other and have these like fun little silly dilly moments. And I like that, but I wish I had a little bit more substance.
Yeah, I mean, the plot was lacking like a weight to it. And I think they had such great chemistry. So, and we've talked about this before about how so many of the recent rom-coms, the two leads don't have chemistry. So while the movie is really fun, it doesn't feel as good in the end because you don't really believe that they wanted to be together. Yeah. And that is not the case with these two. The opening scene is so strong. Like Sydney is killing all of the physical comedy. Was perfect. I was dying. There's this scene on the plane, and I just like I lost my shit.
It was so good.
So good. And the scene in the bathroom and like she fucking gets it's I don't want to say it's so good. Like the whole beginning was great. She was nailing all of that comedy. All of the comedy, they both nailed it so well. I think the weakest points in the film are when they're being serious, because that's when you really feel I didn't believe it sometimes. Like there's this scene where they're supposed to finally like reconcile with like the fact that they both like each other after they have like these hijinks in the water, and it didn't feel genuine when they were saying like the serious things to each other. Like they're so good at bickering, but I didn't believe the dialogue. Felt very dialogue-y to me when they were like, I care about you, like those scenes. Like, I was like, do you? I think it would have worked, except for like I really didn't think that the grand gesture worked for me. Like the third act you don't feel any urgency. There's no timeline ticking down. There's no reason for him to do what he does. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like the end gesture felt so out of pocket. I'm saying that all the time now because it's so nice to describe things. It's like, what was that decision? Like you could have done this and it would have been the same. And I just didn't think it worked. It wasn't set up from the beginning. Like you said, like there wasn't enough substance about who they were to circle back around to make it feel full circle. And that's like what really closes the loop on a rom-com beautifully, when it like matches the beginning. The end scene should have been something with having to pee. That is what it should have been, and it wasn't, and I was upset.
I also think like there was no conversation of like why the fuck did he say the thing that he did, and there was kind of no closure, because they're basically, these characters have like an amazing night. That's how it starts off, and then it gets soured really quickly because of both of their decisions, and
it's just a miscommunication that was blown out of proportion,
and it wasn't fixed, this miscommunication. So she's now, what we believe, knows that he actually did mean what he said about her, and like she didn't, like she kind of explained why she left, but didn't actually tell him that she came back and heard what he said. Yeah, they didn't. I honestly got the feeling that maybe some scenes were cut from the film. I think so, because I saw some if there was like a whole scene in a a theater or something that was in a trailer or a blooper.
Yeah, because it honestly felt like there was stuff set in the script, but that we didn't see it, so it didn't come back around to feel like the weight that you want to feel in a rom-com. Like, oh, it's coming. Like it did. The stuff that came back around was set up at the end of the second act, so it was like 2 seconds ago. So it didn't feel like impactful when the thing happened at the end, even. With like the helicopters, like we just had the helicopter scene like 2 seconds ago. This isn't like a callback. It just happened yesterday. Like, so that it didn't like stick the landing for me because it was lacking the weight behind like the relationship. So, but the actors I think killed it. I think they were so good together.
Okay, shall we move on to Saltburn? Christine watched it with her mom.
I did. I really didn't know what I was getting into at all. I just knew Emerald Fennell. Like, I loved Promising Young Women. I have to watch Saltburn. And the thing is, I was just trying movies and like looking at the opening scene. This is how I gauge if I want to watch a movie, because the opening scene is so important. It sets the tone for the entire film. My mom's like, the opening scene doesn't tell you that much. I'm like, it does actually. It tells you everything. It tells you the tone. It gives you the feel of everything that you're going to see moving forward. So I watched a couple opening scenes and didn't want to watch them. And I turned on Saltburn and I was like immediately hooked by the opening scene in fucking Oxford.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I watched the movie at 1 a.m. with Taya, Liam, and Alex.
1 a.m.
Yeah. It was after we watched Anyone But You and we came home, and then it was like midnight.
Oh my God.
It was the midnight before New Year's Eve. And Alex was like, okay, well, if you don't want to watch Game of Thrones, I'm going to put this movie on, because no one wanted to leave. So we just ended up watching it till like 3:30.
Oh my God. Yeah, you can't stop watching. That's what's great about this movie. It has this dark sense of humor that Emerald Fennell has, I feel, in her films. Like, that's what Promising Young Woman has all through it. Like, it's really dark, but like there's this like cheekiness running through it that keeps you like really entertained. And that's the same thing happening in Saltburn, but Saltburn is so much darker. It's so much more uncomfortable.
By the way, this director, Emerald Fennell, that's her name?
Yes.
She plays Camilla in The Crown, and she plays the pregnant Barbie in Barbie.
No, I didn't even realize that. It's funny. Well, Margot Robbie is a main producer on Saltburn.
Oh, that's right. Okay, well, that makes sense.
They're friends. But yeah, so Saltburn, if you don't know what it's about, I would pitch it as like there's this really awkward guy. He's in college and he sees this hot, rich, young guy also in Oxford, and he becomes obsessed with him. He like really wants to be his friend and more. And then we kind of roll from there. And he's very like socially awkward. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And the whole thing is played off of like, oh, the hot dude's gonna like throw you away. Like he gets bored really easily. And that's played by Jacob Elordi. But
I thought it was Elodie. Elordi?
Elodie.
I think it's Elodie.
No,
Lordy?
it's not.
There's an R?
Elodie? That's a corn. It's Elordi.
Elordi sounds so silly.
Elordi. Jacob Elordi.
I've never heard it out loud, I guess.
And then so they meet, and it's quite like you can kind of see like an obsession happening.
Yeah, I think that's as far as we should go with what.
Yeah. So let's just talk about the scenes. There's a few scenes that are not what you would think was going to happen.
Well, they're very hard to watch. It really delves into the themes of like basically like the wealthy and how they're in their own little bubble and they don't really like understand the normal people and their struggles and how flippant they are about them because they see the world only through their little lens. And then this guy comes in and it's like a very extreme version of like eating the rich. would you say?
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I guess so. Oliver had too many intrusive thoughts. Yes, shots. So there's a few scenes in here that I was verbally cringing at. Not cringing, but I was just shocked. And as I look back on it, I'm like, I probably shouldn't have been as shocked as I was, because I've read a lot of crazy things in my life. But I think reading something and then actually seeing it on screen as a human doing it, it was very off-putting.
It's different.
It's very different. I see so many people shame others online, being like, you were shocked by those scenes. Well, obviously you're not a book girly. And I'm like, okay, seeing it, reading it was very different.
Different seeing it. The vampire scene, I was just like, ooh.
Let me just tell you, we all thought this movie was about vampires because all we've been hearing about is this vampire scene, and it's not about vampires, okay?
No, it's not. It's just that's just the way to say it without spoiling.
Yeah.
And then there's this scene at the gravesite, and I knew exactly what he was going to do, and I was just sitting there with my mom, and I was like, oh no. No. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, the worst for me was definitely the bathtub.
That was the worst too.
I couldn't.
It was germs.
Oh, it was so gross. So my sister was like, what's wrong with that movie? Everyone's just saying it's so disturbing. I guess I don't even want to watch it. But then the other day, she finally is like, so is it too scary to watch by myself at night? And I was like, no, it's not. And she was like, okay, I'm going to watch it. And she was like, I don't get what the big deal was about. And then I was like, the big deal was this scene, and this scene. She's like, oh yeah, those were weird.
Wait, Lauren said that there are all these videos of rich people dancing through their houses in the movie. Don't they realize this freaking play is about them?
Is this freaking play about us? Yeah, I guess they don't. That's the thing. So often the people that are being satired in things don't register that they're being satired in the thing, because they're too caught up in their thing to even be self-aware that they're in the thing. Yeah, the Capitol doesn't know that they're the Capitol until someone forces them to zoom out and spells it out.
I do love that this is another running up the hill type of thing, where we are this is 2007 core coming back, and the people who, or the lady who wrote Murder on the Dance Floor, it shot to #1 again, which is very cool for her. And then there's another song from Saltburn that also is on the charts again.
I didn't even realize it was from 2007. I thought it was a new release.
No, it's 2007.
I've never heard Murder on the Dance Floor before. Before this. And if I did, I didn't register it. We're going to move into our main discussion. But before we do, I want to take a quick second to thank everyone who's listening. We appreciate all of you. We're so excited to be moving into our second season with all of y'all. If you don't already, we'd love it if you followed the podcast in your favorite podcast listening app. That really helps us out. That way you don't miss any episodes. And you can, if you like the visual version, we're on YouTube. Hi, youtube.com/@those4kingfangirls. If you like watching us there, if you subscribe for free on YouTube, you'll never miss an episode there. That really helps us out. And you could always review us really quickly on Spotify. That's really helpful. On Apple Podcasts, everywhere. There's a lot of little things that you can do to help out the pod in the new year if you have a free second. And if you don't know, we have a Patreon full of lots of fun perks, which I already kind of touched on. And the link to join our Patreon, if you're interested, is in the show notes. We do an extra half an hour show every single episode called Fangirl Tea Time. And you get that at the $5 tier. At the $10 tier, which is Team Edward, there's a bonus episode every month. We're playing catch up on our bonus episodes. So December and January will be coming soon to a podcast feed near you. Yes. And then the Polis Bananas tier is the tier where you get to sign up, fill out a form to be on the show. We take on a listener every month to chat with us about whatever fun fandom thing we want to on the show that month. And we also do figure out bonding sessions every month where we go on a Zoom call and hang out and get to know everyone. And it's so fun. We just had our December fangirl bonding this past weekend and it was great.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So into the main discussion here. We were going to discuss, like I said, how much really changes in 10 years. And I want to open this up with asking you, Natasha, where were you 10 years ago in terms of age? Where were you living? What was your job like? What was your headspace like going into that year? What like were you all excited about and wanting to do?
10 years ago,
Wild that 2014 was 10 years ago. Sorry.
I know. I don't like it. I was 19 going into 20. I was living with my mom, working for Page to Premiere. That was like my job. That year, I also started my hosting job for the restaurant across the street from where I used to live. And I was not in a good headspace. Like the entire portion of my life between end of high school, like my senior year of high school into when Christine moved out here was like, I just didn't know what I was doing because I didn't go to college. So it was just all my friends had moved away. I didn't really have anyone close to me. I was trying to make new friends online. I was trying to do things. I didn't really have a lot of freedom to do that until like I got my hostessing job. 'Cause I was just trying to make the online space work. I started my YouTube channel in 2013, which was probably like in August 2013. So I was just kind of like getting started in everything. But I really felt lost, truly. I think some things were happening in 2014. That was when Christine came out for Vampire Academy. And I was really motivated at that point, and I wanted to do more things like that. And I was filming a lot because I had a lot of free time to do that. And so it was a lot of fun, but also a lot of scary times. And I was just in a okay place, not in a great place, in like an okay place, but still. My dad had passed away that April of 2013, so I was like in a grieving stage too at that point. It was not a good year, aside from when Christine was around.
Should I go?
Yeah, you should go.
Okay, that's a good throw, but I wasn't sure if you were done. Okay, so I was at peak 23. I was living with my mom in New Jersey, and I wanted to be on my own. I was ready to move out. I wanted to start like living my 20s, and I felt very claustrophobic in the house with my mom and my sister and my brother, trying to film every day and edit every day, and the dog. And it was just so many people to juggle around and to mentally like jump through the hoops you need to like be in the headspace to film. I mean, if you film on YouTube, like, you know, like you have to have like a certain headspace to be like on camera. And like, it was just, I feel like I never slept the year of like 23. I was just like constantly working or with people. The thing is, like, when you're in a house with people, they're constantly like, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? What about this? Can you do this? Do you want to come down here? Can you help me with this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And like, that's just not conducive to like long-term creative headspace because you can't focus on one thing long enough to finish a project. So I was just constantly up till like 4 a.m. But anyway, at the end of 2013 is when Booksplosion formed, and I was like full steam ahead. Like, I am going to make this into a job, and I am going to make YouTube into a job, and then I'm going to be able to move out to California like I always wanted to, because I majored in film and TV, and everyone I knew that majored in my major was already out there. And I was like, it's time to get the fuck out there. You have to be there to do things. Like, you have to be there for the opportunities. So anyway, I was getting really close with Kat and Jesse and Ariel. Like we were talking all the time. So I was like heading that parade because I was close to New York City. So I was doing all the meetings with the publishers. And the beginning of 2014, I was like, this is going to work. We're going to make this happen. And that's when we had set up like our first book of the month was going to be in February, and we're going to do it for free, but we're going to show them how much of an impact we're going to make. And then like by the end of February, we had booked May, June, and I think July for Booksplosion. And like I was getting paid for stuff, and it was like the first time that I had money in my account that like was significant, you know, like it was always just like a little bit and then it went away really fast. And I was like, whoa, like I can use this to move. Like it's going to happen. I just need to figure out how to do it. So it was like a huge year for me. And it started off just really, I was really stressed about like making the stuff happen because I knew if I didn't do it myself, it wasn't going to happen. This is when like after, if you go to college, like everything's kind of feels laid out for you. So you know like what's next and what's next. And it's the same with high school, all through school. But like, yeah, when you're 23, it's your first year out and you're like, no one's going to pave the path. Like I have to pave the path. And there's this weird stress about like not knowing how to do it because no one teaches you like how to live outside of the guardrails of school. Like it's so strange how school doesn't prepare us at all for like the real world stuff that we have to do. I feel like that really should be a class. Like just like adulting, like the Gen Zs like joke about how adulting is such like an annoying millennial term, but like it's a real thing that we just put a word to, like that we are never taught really how to navigate. So it was that time for me. And I was like finally feeling like focused on something that I was gonna do. Whereas like the months leading up to that, I was in this headspace where I was like, I don't know what my life is gonna be. Like what path do I pursue? And I finally like was laser focused on a goal and it felt great. Yeah. 2014 was a huge year. I look at it now as like a terrible year because I went through a lot of like shitty stuff with my voice and moving and all that stuff, but also like so much happened. Like, do you remember like what your goals were for that year, Natasha?
I don't like, we were in very different spaces because I feel like I was just trying to survive. But I was loving BookTube and YouTube because, you know, for like 2-3 years before that, I was just like writing articles and not really honing my own voice. And I just wanted to make more videos and have fun doing that. And I didn't know how to monetize that at that time. But like you were such an inspiration for me at that time. And I remember like hearing more about Booksplosion and kind of understanding how like people get ads. And I think I learned a lot that year. But and it was like one of the first times I had really that year I had explored LA as well because like you guys had moved in August. And I then had, you know, spent a lot of time with you because it was kind of like an escape from my home life. And and I, you know, I didn't necessarily need to, like, I could sleep over at your place and kind of like get away from my mom. But really my goals were just like, I don't know. I was just really trying to figure it out, but I was so happy to have friends in a space that I felt like this is where I belonged. And it was just starting for me and I didn't know like where it would lead. But I knew that like I needed to make more money so I could have more freedom. And, I look back at that year, like, with gratitude and with a lot of like happy memories, because I remember specifically when you came out for Vampire Academy and then when you left, I cried because I was like, I had so much fun with you. I don't know why I'm going to cry again, but it was such like a, it like you were such a blessing to me, and I'm so glad that I had you. Because I mean, oh my God, I'm just getting back in the headspace, but it was just such a hard time for me. And
yeah, and I had no idea.
I know, and I didn't let people know because I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't.
And I know that makes it more of an escape for you for me not to know.
Yes. Yeah. No, I didn't. Didn't want a lot of people to know because you were like so new, and I'm like, I have to protect her. She can't know about all this stuff happening in my life.
Yeah. I'll never forget when you like really quickly, you and Alex just said it in like 10 seconds. You were like, and this happened. So if my mom's upset, that's why. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it was a very like because we didn't know what she was gonna do. Like we knew, like, we were like very cautious. We're like, okay, well, Christine's gonna be here, and like we have to protect her from mom if she does anything crazy. Like she's not drinking right now, so like that's a good thing because she just had like half her stomach cut out because the year before she had bleeding ulcers. So,
oh gosh,
yeah. So
yeah. Yeah, you guys picked me up from the airport, and like we got lunch, and like right at the last second, you were just like, so this and this and this. And we went, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I did not know. And but it was Then we had so much fun, just like making videos and living in our own little bubble for like 4 days, and it was great. But yeah, that I mean, like, then we didn't see each other get to like VidCon, but then I felt like we saw each other all the time. Like once I moved to LA, so for me, it was like this, like, say yes year, just do it, like just go, just do things, because the year before was like, I felt so stuck. And again, like I'm really glad I got out of my family's house. That I love my family, but like it was it gets toxic living in a house like that where there's like a lot of chaos and trauma and stuff all the time. So for me, it was also like I was getting away from that, and like Natasha would come over all the time once we moved to LA, and we'd hang out and like watch Outlander late into the night and like just like have sleepovers all the time. It was so fun. I forget where we were going with this.
Goals.
Yeah, like my goals were like turning YouTube into a job and getting out to LA, and I fucking did those two things, and it was so cool. And to like I don't know, I was just like, I feel like at that time I was just so confident I could do it. And it's so cool to look back and think about like believing in yourself that hard. And it makes me want to believe in myself that hard now. And like life, like the years that go by kind of shake you and make you think that like you can't, those things aren't possible, but they are. Like you did them, like I made those things happen. And I want to believe in myself that much again. And I'm trying to. But I also like I really wanted to know what it was like to be in a relationship. Like I still had never had any relationship at all. And that year I met my first boyfriend, but nothing really happened, but I met him at Playlist Live, or maybe it was the year before in 2013 Yeah. But that year at VidCon, he was single because he had like a girlfriend the second time I saw him. And then he was single at VidCon. And it was like this weird like romance novel thing was happening to me. Like I was caught up in the story of it all. Like he was moving to LA. I was moving to LA. And we both liked each other. And we like kissed at VidCon. And like it was this... like all these things I wanted for so long were just like coming to fruition, and that was so cool. But then I got so sick for like the rest of the year. Like I was just like in all these doctors' offices, and I was just like in pain all the time. So it's like this weird juxtaposition of these like the high and that like confusion of not knowing like what's going on, because I was like allergic to everything in LA, and no doctor would tell me how to fix like that. I was in pain every time I spoke, and like talking was my job. So it was like very scary.
You didn't even know what it was. Like you didn't even know that you were allergic. It was just like, why is this happening to me?
Yeah. No, it was just like I went to every sort of doctor. Like they told me not to talk. So like I felt like I lost my whole self for months on end. And my YouTube was like very much built off of me being like very loud and very much like an intense talker. And I had to like tone myself down, and that takes like such a weird mental toll, because I felt like in person events with everybody, I couldn't be a person. I was just like a ghost there. Because we were doing so many events too. Like also like such a blessing. Like we were going to all the different things at that time. VidCon that year was so much fun.
I think that was my first VidCon, because I didn't go to 2013. Yeah, that was a fun one. I think I did your hair that year. I was like very proud of it.
You did my hair all the time.
I think that was like the first time I did your hair.
Like you did the curls or something, maybe?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It was like a blowout look, kind of.
Yeah. So at that time, like compared, I talked about this a little bit like in a little video on Instagram, but it's really weird to me how my 23rd year is really mirroring my 33rd year in the way that like I felt so lost and like confused about like what paths I'm supposed to pick, and like how to make what my dreams and aspirations happen. And I feel like maybe life is like that on like a cycle in terms of like the existential crisis and confusion, because I also, if you rewind to like 13 from 23, that was like the most confusing weird year too. It's like, what's gonna happen to my body? What will I be like as an adult? Because like, don't you ever thinking like that? Like, am I gonna be tall? Am I gonna have boobs? Like what am I gonna be? like physically, you're just like, what will my adultness look like? And then with 23, it's like, what will I do? Like, what will I be as an adult? And then 33 is like, what is my adulthood going to be? Like, because I'm not married. I don't have plans to have kids anytime soon. It's completely different. So, and the fact that could happen possibly can shift your life so drastically in such an extreme way, it makes thinking ahead and looking at the future so confusing. And I feel like that's so similar to like the headspace I was in 10 years ago, except like a shift, like not about my career, but about like my life in general. Like what will it look like long term in terms of like family and career and all that stuff? How will it blend? Anyway, yeah. So are you feeling like a similar vibe, or do you think that like it's not, this isn't the year where you're feeling that at all? Like it's only specific ages.
2014 was like the precipice of like everything starting for me, and just having like a handle on like what exactly I wanted to do and not knowing what that meant. And this year I kind of felt like I'm going into this and I'm like, I don't really like, I feel like I quit my job in 2021 and it's been, gosh, now 3 years almost. It's going to be 3 years this year. And like, I feel like every 3 years I make a big decision with my career, or I try to change it or flip it. And I kind of feel like, this is a year where something else is going to be starting, and I don't know what it could be, because I don't know. It's so weird that I've had such like a long stretch of time now where everything has kind of stayed the same. And I'm like, some change is going to happen. I don't know what it's going to be or what it is, but yeah, That's kind of how I feel right now, at least 10 years. And like, that's how I kind of relate it back to like 2014, because so much change.
You're just not
happened.
sure exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it will go. Yeah. That feeling is so uncomfortable. Like, you want to know which way to steer and you're just like not sure. And it's scary. Okay, so in terms of like your insecurities and stuff, like how have those shifted in the last 10 years, do you think? Like, where were you in that realm?
I mean, always, I think every person deals with this, but like body insecurities, and it was kind of before like body positivity, like 10 years ago. It was just starting.
Yeah.
And kind of honing that and owning that. And seeing people like me online. That was like the first time I started seeing people like me and accepting myself and my body, but still not understanding that I can still have insecurities. Like, I think every year there's some new insecurity, cropping up about my body. And it was also like the first, like, I think I like over like between 2014 and like 2016, I was in that hostessing job. And as I looked back on those pictures, like, I look so much different from like graduating high school to like the end of 2016. It was because I was like moving, because you could see how like depressed I was back in like 2012, 2013, because there was just no movement happening. And then I finally got out and I finally had freedom and I could finally do things. And it's just how our bodies are, and kind of understanding and knowing like that's what your body did to get you through that, and how you had to survive some of those big grief moments. And then it kind of, if I looked back at it, it does represent kind of what 2020 was too, when my mom died and we all were in the pandemic and we weren't moving. And so even though I had those insecurities, I can look back and see that my body was doing what it could to survive. And I can thank it for that. So those were always like the biggest insecurities. And then money insecurity. Yeah. I never really got to experience that security until I got my full-time job when I was 24. And yes, like I did start making money on YouTube, and that's when I could like travel. I think my biggest insecurity though was, one, not having a college degree and allowing myself to accept the fact that I was never going to have the college experience, but I did have an experience that might have been even better than college. And that was the YouTube experience and going to conventions and having funds.
YouTube University.
YouTube University, for sure. And having like funds to be able to do those things and go to conventions and have friends and have those moments and memories to look back on. I also like started doing social media for the restaurant I was working for, and able to create like even extra cash that way. Because like my mom had no money, like we were living off of the government, and my grandparents were helping her, and there was no helping. There was no parent helping. I had to do everything myself. And because of that, like I think that's what I'm doing. Like I've had to make my own business and figure it out how to be able to create a livelihood for myself, because of those hardships.
Those insecurities have like evolved. Like your stance, the idea of like not having gone to college has evolved so much, which is nice. Like,
yeah. I was so insecure about it, but now I'm like, I don't have debt. Now I'm like, thank God, honestly. Like it's, you don't need a college degree to be in marketing. Yeah, I think getting a job like as an influencer marketing manager like really just gave me the confidence to be like, it's fine, Natasha, you made the right decision. You didn't need to go to college. And I know like I have so many backup plans too in place if like somehow things go south. Like I'm just gonna get my hair license degree and work with Kayla. So I think like in the last 10 years, knowing that you don't need to have a college degree to be able to be successful is such a real statement and something that I've been able to prove to myself.
Yeah. And we've acknowledged it as a society, I feel like. I mean, maybe not the older generations don't understand it yet, but we all know now, millennials were all taught that like you don't go to college and you will live on the street and die. Like that is
yes.
That is the impression our parents gave us. That is why so many of us are in student debt. I mean, have so much student debt. But yeah, I'm really glad I went to college. Like it was an amazing experience for me, but like completely so happy that it's been like acknowledged that that pressure is off like the new generations because there is so. The thing is, these jobs also that we have didn't exist at that time. So we've created these spaces for creatives to work and not need a college degree. Like the college degree is really, it's necessary for some jobs, of course, like scientific jobs, you know, like we want our doctors to go to college. We want our doctors to have many years of schooling. But like if you're doing a creative job, a lot of that learning can come from life and being a part of those industries in a way where you're shadowing people or, you know, working as a different job in the company where you learn about more of the industry. I feel like that is a really good way to learn about a creative craft rather than not necessarily doing college where you have to take all these extraneous classes and shell out all this money that won't really end up going towards your career goal.
Did you have any other like insecurities that you've kind of been able to get over or have them evolve over the last 10 years?
Yes, definitely. And some that are just like still with me.
I know.
Like, I mean, like the huge insecurity at that time was, of course, like never having been in a relationship, never having experienced any of these like romance things and like sex and being in love and all of that stuff felt like this big mysterious room that I wasn't allowed to walk into. Like I was barred from it because I've never experienced it myself. So when everyone was talking about it around me, I would like my skin would get hot and I would like heave into myself. Like I don't want anyone to know that I don't have an expertise on this. And so, of course, like that's evolved. I think forever I'll have like a little insecurity about like not being as experienced with like love because so many people have dated like so many people. And I feel way more comfortable in like my knowledge of relationships. I feel like I've learned so much through like the last 10 years about like what I want in a relationship and what kind of person I need as a partner and what I want to look for in a partner and all of that. But like with around certain people who are like talking about their escapades, I it still like creeps back. It's like that younger me being oh, you can't even speak here. You know nothing.
Yeah.
But I'm much more comfortable talking about it. Like I will just say it. I won't be like hiding in my like mind cave feeling shame about it, which is I think a huge evolution, you know?
Shame.
Like
Shame.
I know. Like, I will just say it out loud. I'm like completely comfortable with it. I think that's a huge step forward. And I think as a society, we're way more comfortable with it as well. Like we don't shame people. Like in high school, people were shamed. Like that's why I was so afraid to be caught out. Like they would all it was like a pack of wolves descending. Like, oh my God, you've never done this. You've never done this. Oh my God, how? What? Like, what a fucking loser. Like, that's what it would. I've seen it happen. I would sit there and watch it happen and feel like I was dying for the person it was happening to. And then when it was me, I like would die. Like, it would just be like, I have left the planet. But yeah, so that was huge. And then like adulting in general was such an insecurity, and I would say that's evolved. Like, it's different now, but like I remember I still have no fucking idea what to do when I buy a car in terms of like sitting there with the people. Like, it's so weird and annoying, the like the salesman-y shit that goes on when you like have to get a car. Like, I had to have my dad there with me to help me buy the car, because the car dealers will like be like, I don't know, I have to check, and then leave and come back and like be, I don't know about like APRs and all that stuff enough to feel like I can look it up and like learn, and then in person I'll be like, I have no idea what they're talking about. Get everything about like the financing and all that stuff, because we're never taught about it. Literally never.
Katie says the gatekeeping
Luckily,
of financial literacy is bonkers.
It is. Oh my God.
Wow. Yeah.
And Shad says they definitely prey on younger women too. Yes, they definitely do. And so I am at the point where like soon I feel like I'm going to need a new car. My car is old. At this point, it's not a priority for me at all to like get a new car, because financial times are not like, let's get a new car. I have other things that are more pressing. But when that time comes, luckily my neighbor was like, I'm so good at car buying. Like, just bring me with you. And I was like, oh, thank God. I didn't know how that was ever going to go down.
Yeah. And if you need like a big man, just Alex can go too.
Have like a team. It's like going to quit the gym. You need like someone with you to make sure you can do it. They don't take advantage. But like 2014 is when I bought furniture for the first time, because like we were going into this empty apartment. Like I was going across the country. Like I couldn't bring my bed set. And like I had a couple $1,000s and I thought I had so much money. Like it goes I like, it's so crazy when you've never had anything in your bank account, how rich you feel with like, a couple $1,000s, and how quickly that goes. Like, I'm very lucky that at that time I was getting jobs left and right, so everything was fine. But like, I bought like my iron shelf, and no regrets, man. This was like $700 something.
That'll last for a very long time.
I saw it. It's made from like all reclaimed wood and iron, and like it's so fucking cool. I've never seen anything like it. Like I no regrets. But like this, when they came to my apartment with this bookshelf, they could not fit it through the hallway into my room, and I was like, what the fuck? And like I think it was like final sale or something. So like I was gonna have to like, I don't know where I was going to put this bookshelf, and I was sweating. It took them 45 minutes, and they finally realized that this bottom piece can come off so that they could fit it through the doorway, and they got it into my room. But I was like, the first big piece of furniture I bought doesn't fit in the house. It was so embarrassing. I was about to be like, this is so embarrassing. Like, I didn't want it in the common area where like Kat was, because this was like my bookshelf and she had her bookshelves.
Yep.
And I'd have to film in front of it all the time. So what a time. But like,
Shot says
I've never bought another book.
Oh
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Shad says furniture is so expensive. When my room and I were moving in together, I was looking at the prices and we were like, do we really need a couch? The floor is comfy enough. I feel that.
You really do, though. Kat and I bought this like cheap couch.
It was terrible.
It was terrible. Like, I love, like, something to invest in is a couch. I love my couch. I think this couch, this is like $1,500. I can't remember. It was like, it wasn't too expensive, but like, it was worth it.
I know my couch. We bought our couch when we were like 24 because that was like one of the first big thing. I'm like, I need a couch. I want a sectional. And we got a floor model off of like Ashley Furniture. And I think it was only $1,200 for this massive thing. And this thing sees so much love.
Yeah. Maybe this was over. I remember very vividly. My blue couch was like $890, and I was like, "Holy shit, I'm buying it!" But like, this is so expensive. But like that blue couch, while it was so beautiful, was like not comfortable. So I was like, okay, I need to get a beautiful couch that is also comfortable, and that's what this couch is. I can't remember how much it costs now. It was definitely between $1,000 and $2,000, but I had no regrets. Like, I fucking love this couch. It's beautiful. It's so comfortable. I just wish it was blue. I should have bought a blue couch. I wanted to like mix it up, but I fucking love blue couches. Going back when I could buy a new couch, when I need one, when I finally have more space. But yeah, I love the bedroom set that I got. Something that I've learned is that like I want all my shit to be light, so it's bright. Like it makes such a big difference in like your just regular life in the house, especially if you work from home, having like light furniture and light floors. Like it just makes everything feel brighter and happier. Like it really does weigh on you when you live in an apartment that's dark with like dark flooring and like dark furniture. Meaning like dark wood. Yeah.
I'm lucky. Alex and I got the corner unit, so we have so much light in our apartment, but we do have dark floors, which I don't mind. But like I remember moving into the second place with my mom, and it was like a government funded housing place, and it was a 1-story. We've always had 2 stories, and it was so dark, and our furniture was so big and didn't really fit in that apartment. And my room was pretty bright because I had like the master, but yeah, it's so important to have like light. Like I don't think I don't want to be sandwiched in between 2 units anymore. Like I like my end unit with my hallway windows and a little backyard. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it's hard to find stuff like that.
Light is so important in choosing a home. Like I don't get as much natural light in here, but this apartment has so much overhead lighting, which is great, and it has light floors, so like that really makes up for it. And overhead lighting is so scarce in apartments in SoCal at least. So that's a huge selling point. All right, let's talk about a couple of like the pop culture stuff that was going on in 2014 and how different it is now. I mean, like I think 2014 was like a peak YouTube, booktube community was at peak. Now that I feel like the online social community is kind of too oversaturated to be as community oriented. Yeah. As our experience was. But like YouTube was a community. Like when you saw the rewind, you knew the majority of the faces in the rewind. Now, if they did that, we wouldn't know anybody because there's just too many people.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like people on YouTube also are getting millions of followers because of shorts too. Like I see people constantly.
That's a different relationship.
Yeah, and I see people constantly getting like the million follower button because of that way that they are gaining followers, not because of their long form, because of their short form. It's very different now.
It's very different. The fandoms at that time were like Divergent, Hunger Games, Tiffios was huge. The movie had just come out. I mean, the Hunger Games still back into a relevant light. Like a lot of 2014 stuff has come back around this year, fandom wise.
I think we got part 2 or part 1 in 2014
of Hunger Games. Yeah, I think it was part 1. I think part 2 was in 2015 of Mockingjay. Because I think I saw it with you and Kat.
Yeah. Also, Teen Wolf. I was obsessed with Teen Wolf at this time.
Teen Wolf. Oh my God, it was huge. I forgot about Teen Wolf. Yes. And then like this was the year of like Fancy, Iggy Azalea at VidCon. Fancy was just playing everywhere.
The Oscar selfie was this year.
Oh yeah. That was the year of Ellen's selfie. That was such a fun Oscars. I will never forget it because I watched it alone in Chicago in a snowstorm in a hotel room. And Ellen just made me feel so like I wasn't by myself. I was in such good company during that Oscars.
Also, oh my God, the year of Frozen.
Yeah. Well, Frozen came out in 2013, but it was like, I think the winter, and it was huge in 2014. 1989 came out in 2014, which has come back around.
Oh my God, I went to the concert that summer then with my cousin.
I think it was 2015, the concerts. But
oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, but getting the tickets was in 2014.
The ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, that was huge.
That was enormous. Did you do it? I feel like I never saw you do it.
I never did it.
I did it. With Kat outside of the apartment. That was the year of, Vampire Academy, the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Giver movie, Maze Runner, If I Stay. Yeah, Gone Girl, too, which is, that kind of kicked off a whole murder, true crime, mystery trend, like with books, like The Girl in the Train on the Window. Like all those books started gaining a lot of traction at that time. The fashion of 2014 was my favorite. It's when crop tops and high-waisted pants and outfits, jeans, skirts, shorts, leggings all came into like a crest. They were everywhere. Taylor Swift was wearing them everywhere. Red lipstick was everywhere. It was a great time. And today, we're back to fucking low jeans.
I think we forgot to talk about how Outlander also came into our lives in 2014.
Oh yeah.
That was, I became like the Outlander girl too, and that was my favorite thing. Yeah. Actually, did I read Red Rising in 2014? Did that come out in 2014 or 2015?
I feel like it was 2015.
Yeah.
That's when we did the interview. So I'm assuming it was 2015, but maybe the beginning. I think it was early.
Yeah. This also was like, so Christine loved the fashion. I didn't really know my sense of style in 2014, but it was the pinnacle of Christian girl autumn looks with jeans and cardigans and infinity scarves, which is what I did. And I look back at the time and I kind of hate it. And there's also like, we wore a lot of like business casual blouses, or at least I did. And because I, again, didn't really know my sense of style or really how I liked to dress. So yes, it was cool for the time, as Shot says, but sometimes I look back on the 2014 VidCon looks and I'm like, bad.
I had all those jumpsuits then, but like they weren't styled. They were just like, I wore the jumpsuit and I wore a necklace.
Oh, the big necklaces. I was very into like the big chunky necklaces and skater skirt dresses.
Shots is saying Tumblr was so big in 2014. Yes, that has changed. Now it's really in TikTok and the gram. But like the OG Akatar hype, that has come back around.
Oh yeah.
That's also the OG Coho hype. Colleen Hoover, that's when everyone was telling me to read her, and that's come back around. Like so much stuff from that time has weirdly come back around 10 years later, which is, it's just strange. Like 1989 is so on the nose right back around 10 years later. Like it's so fascinating. And I don't know if we just haven't lived long enough to like see trends like this. Maybe this happens with everything. Yeah. Percy Jackson was huge. And Here's Olympus was still like coming out. And now the show is out. Like, I don't know if this happens all the time. We're just now noticing it because we're older. Or if this is like a cool, this doesn't always happen sort of thing. Because we know what happens with fashion, but does it happen with pop culture shit like this? so intensely. I don't know.
I think so because like things like when people are younger, when we were younger, we didn't necessarily have the choices to be able to consume the type of media that we wanted to, but we were so interested in it. So like when Twilight came back around, it was because, well, when it came onto Netflix, but also people who were too young to watch it were able now to consume it, and it becomes popular because those young people are now in their 20s and they're the ones who kind of direct
things.
Yes. So I think it happens very often, but now that we have the internet, it's a bigger thing.
It's different. Yeah, for sure. Okay, now as we wrap this up, is there anything that in 2014, like, that you would do differently now that you have like the knowledge of 10 more years? Like, is there anything that happened that you would do a different way or handle differently?
Like if I were to take my knowledge now and then go back in my 2014 body?
Yes.
I mean, there's so much I know now. I mean, I would have a better sense of style. I don't know. I think I would put myself out there more in a way where I think what was really holding me back then was that it was really hard to make money and I didn't know how. I think like being able to understand that I could do it by myself and go to different, like I did with the restaurant where I could do social media for other people, I should have maybe honed that more so that I could have the more freedom. 'Cause at that time it was just like trying to figure out how to afford life and then get out of my mom's home and like get out of there. So that would probably be it. And maybe like to tell my 20-year-old self that to wear the fucking bikini.
Nice.
Because it doesn't matter what people think.
Yeah. I want to say that I would handle my relationship with my first boyfriend very differently. Like the pressure I was feeling to like experience sex and experience this. I wish I could talk to myself and just, I don't know, explain some things that I feel like much more comfortable about now. Whereas then I was like so confused and so in the dark about all of that, and how to deal with, like, he wanted to do things all the time and I did not. And I did not know how to deal with that in a way that like wouldn't make me look like, and I felt like I was the asshole. Like, and I was really learning what it was like to be in a relationship versus what I imagined it to be, and learning about myself and what I need in a relationship. And I didn't know how to vocalize that at all. I didn't know how to vocalize like that I didn't like things, or like if I was her, I didn't know how to vocalize that. I didn't know how to vocalize how, when we got in an argument, like how to really state my opinion in a way where I like got through to the person, because I was too worried about like hurting their feelings all the time, or like coming off like an asshole or sounding mean and all that stuff. And that's all like patriarchal bullshit that we like, that is ingrained in us like growing up, to like make sure the man feels this and that and this and that, nurtured and so I would go back and have a talk. There. It's hard to say like with my throat stuff what I would do. I mean, like, I wish I know what medication helps it now, and it was around then, but the doctor was like, there was like a case with a suicide with someone who was on the medication, so there was all this like fear around the medication having caused it, and so we didn't even look at it. But but now, like, there's so much more research and data to show that like that wasn't a major factor, but like it can affect depression and anxiety, but it's not. It's a very helpful medication, and like lots of people are on it, and it's fine. So like when I went back to the doctor in 2020, they were like, why haven't you tried this? And I was like, I don't know. The doctor was like confused about it in 2014. So yeah. But wow. We've learned a lot. It's been 10 years of learning so much about ourselves and about and society, like being more open to talking about issues and things that we all deal with mental health wise. And I think that's really helped all of us grow and learn about how to walk through the world in a healthy way. Let's see. What did Katie say? Okay. Katie said people always say to do to others what you would want done to yourself, but I always needed to hear do to yourself what you would do to others, because I always had more care for others than I did for myself. Yeah. That's real. So real. I feel like, again, that's like that patriarchal thing women are taught to do.
It's also I don't think, Katie, you're the oldest daughter, but it is like an older daughter syndrome thing too.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up our deeper portion of the show. We're going to move into Mary Kiss Cliff.
Okay. Well, because since these girlies were so big in 2014 as well as now, we've got Jennifer Lawrence, Emma Stone, and Margot Robbie. Christine, who are you going to marry?
We've done like a similar one, haven't we?
I don't remember, but let's just do it. Who are you going to marry? Who are you going to kiss? Who are you and Cliff?
Because I feel like I've married Jennifer Lawrence before. I'm going to marry Margot Robbie this time. Oh, fuck. I don't want to cliff any of these women. Fuck. Damn it. I don't know. What are you going to do?
I don't think I can handle Jennifer Lawrence. She's very funny, but I don't know. I think I would be belligerent with her. She's Emma Stone is so like quick-witted that I probably would feel stupid around her. Okay, so I'm gonna marry Margot Robbie and hitch myself to Barbie. And I'm going to kiss J-Law, and I guess I'm gonna cliff Emma Stone. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna cliff J-Law this time because I think I married her last time. I'm marrying Robbie, and I'm gonna kiss Emma because I don't want to cliff Emma.
When Emma fall in love.
That's all I could think about when Taylor Swift was clapping for Emma Stone last night when she won for Poor Things.
Yeah, theme.
When Emma falls in love. All right. Well, that is going to be our show today. We are actually this year moving to make Chapter Chat a segment that is separate in the feed so that y'all can listen to it if you're reading it, and you don't have to have it at the end of the show if you're not reading with us. So we're going to record that. We have to figure out our schedule for recording Chapter Chat, but that will be a separate in the feed thing now. And we have a big tea time planned, a catch up. I'm really excited. So that is for our patrons. We're going to be recording that after this. And if you're interested, the link to our Patreon is in the show notes. But we are so happy to be back. Our podcast is edited by Jake Needham and Alex Polis, with music by Cole Jenkins and vocals by Heather Traska. Chloe Laverson does our socials. Make sure you're following us at Those Forking Fangirls on Instagram and on TikTok. And where else are we? We're at Fork Fangirls Pod on Twitter. But yeah, all those links are in the show notes. So you can check them out. Chloe kills it over there. And I think that's all. I'm Christine.
I'm Natasha.
And we release episodes every Friday. We will see you next week. Bye, y'all.
Bye.